All right, welcome back. We are once again watching Amherst here, and just a reminder, we have Dylan Klingelhofer on top lane, Ian Hughes in jungle, Carter Cobb in mid, Trayton Walker ADC, and Clark Smith on support, and we're opening up with a Hecarim ban.
Indeed, and on the red side we have Louisville, starting off with Tyler Ingram in the jungle, Travis Ingman in the mid, Terry Dillard at top, and David Rupp support, unfortunately playing on a 4v5 team.
We are seeing another Diana ban, which, considering the last game, very smart.
Smart ban, Pantheon, and a Lowy for our red team.
Thank
An
you.
ASOL ban as well.
I forgot.
Happens to most of us.
An ASOL ban, also very smart. That's
Indeed.
forever scaling is harsh.
Unfortunately, from my personal experience, ASOL is not their best or infinite scaler. They're better at Veigar.
Really?
Yes.
We are going to see a Mordekaiser pick.
Let's see if they can get that Veigar.
Making
Yeah,
that a
there is
3v.
that Veigar.
There we go. But this Mordekaiser could make this a 3v5. Or
Yeah,
3v4, I
very
guess.
much so a 3v4. Depends on who the Mordekaiser chooses to take out, because it can be a disadvantage for the Mordekaiser to go in there as well.
Absolutely. They are
A
picking
Graves
a Graves.
jungle.
Graves is a very strong carry jungler.
Indeed, but he's also very easy to shut down.
This is true. He does need his farm.
Are we getting a Rammus counter pick?
Oh, we're teasing the Ivern a little bit like last time.
Hovering Ivern. I sincerely doubt that Ivern's going to be the pick, and it's back
We're going
to
back to Master Yi.
Master Yi is a bit weak here early going into a Graves, however. I feel like that might be a misplay of a pick.
And with the Veigar with pretty constant CC.
Yeah. He tries to gank mid, he gets caged, he tries to invade jungle, Graves beats him.
We're definitely going to see some beefy support types here coming out.
Corki.
A Corki. And a Bard.
And a Bard. Can't say I'm surprised on the Bard.
I do have a soft spot for Bard. I think he's a very quirky little character.
Yes, especially with the situation that 4v5 is going into, Bard is definitely a good champ. He can get anywhere on the map he needs to be quickly.
Absolutely. He is a fast-moving support. We've got a Jinx ban as well. Very good, I
Good
think.
choices, yeah.
The Jinx is a very strong ADC currently, and she has a lot of damage that can just be AoE.
Looks like our team in blue is trying to figure out who top lane to ban.
A Warwick
A
ban.
Warwick ban.
Are they thinking maybe
Interesting.
this Graves is going to be flexed?
Maybe.
A Seraphine ban as well. Seraphine also a pretty good ban here.
Yes.
And a
Just
set.
a set ban. Let's see what the red team picks in for their final character.
Coming down, early banning out that.
Oh, Lord.
Suspense is intense.
The
A
Mundo!
Oh boy.
And a Tristana coming back out here.
Tristana coming back out again. Is it going to be Leona as well?
We shall see. It's very
Any second now.
suspenseful. They're really holding on to it for a second.
Yes, they do like to drag out champ select.
There's Leona.
Very much so.
There we go.
We definitely have an interesting setup here.
I'm very interested to see how this all works together because while I understand how the red side is supposed to work, it is a little tough to pull off.
Indeed. I think the Veigar is going to have an easier matchup than expected with the Corki. One might think
Absolutely.
that Corki's not going to be able to W in, which is half of Corki's kit, so...
That
half
is
the
true.
time.
The
Right.
package is only really going to be useful if he's not spotted.
Indeed. And the Bard is going to be hopping everywhere all over the map. It doesn't really matter what the bot lane does. As we saw with the previous match, the bot lane depended on getting fed off of the enemy bot lane, but there isn't going to be a bot lane to get fed off of this time.
However, consider that Tristana is really good at taking towers.
Yes, that could be a very major problem for our red team.
Absolutely.
Mundo versus Mordekaiser, always an interesting matchup. I feel like Mundo has the advantage going in here. It just depends on how well Mordekaiser plays the matchup.
Mordekaiser has to get rid of that spell shield.
For sure, at least one CC ability to get rid of it, meaning that he has to cast his E twice.
Which is tough because his CE is a pretty important part of his kit and his combo.
It's a beefy cooldown. For sure. It's slightly shorter than Mundo's spell shield as long as Mundo doesn't pick up his package.
That is true. Another thing to mention is that the Mordekaiser passive does do % max health damage.
So does the Mundo Q.
That is true. If they sit on top of each other, maybe we'll see a bit of a tank fight.
Definitely. It's going to be a fun top lane for sure, fun mid lane matchup. I'm going to be interested to see how the Yi plays around the Graves and vice versa. Is the Graves going to try to force Yi to take fights with him, or is he going to let the Yi sit back and play opposite side?
I'm just also very curious to see, this is a 4v5. Who's going to come out on
4v5.
top? Like, it is a very...
4v5s are always going to be an issue in League because at its base level, like most games, it's a game of numbers. When you're down a person, you're missing a fifth of just about everything. Health, resistances, damage especially, considering we're missing an ADC on the side of red here.
Absolutely. And ADCs, again, as in their name, attack, damage, carry, you really want that consistent damage coming out from your DPS, such as Tristana.
Definitely. If that Tristana gets an advantage, Mundo's not going to be able to do a ton. She's just going to melt him out of the match. And the Leono's going to keep anything off from the Tristana, I'd feel like. The only real major issue I can see for the Tristana here is if the Veigar cages her.
Yeah, if the Veigar manages to cage her, as well as him just getting his funny button off.
Yep, the funny button.
The funny button.
What's that? You want to play the game? No, there's a bolt of dark energy shooting at you.
Yep. You know, just the short little guy is just going to absolutely murder your day.
Yep. Funny cannon matchup again, once again, here with the Mordekaiser and Veigar.
That is true. I'm also curious to see what this Tristana is going to build into this team. Because, again, if you want to be able to take out that front line, you're going to probably want to go Bork or Lord Doms.
Yeah.
But you're also going to want to do your damage.
It's definitely not going to be a question whether or not we're getting Kraken Slayer. That's a
Absolutely.
no duh at this point. The secondary items are definitely going to depend on who gets fed. I'd feel like if the Graves gets fed, I would like to see a GA pretty quick.
Oh, 100%. And which Graves build are we going to see?
I'm betting on damage. I don't think we're going to see any tank out of Graves here. I don't think Graves can risk building that.
Well, I'm just a little curious because I've definitely seen... Well, I don't know if Goredrinker Graves has been nerfed, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think Goredrinker's going to get a lot of value here, though.
I mean, Graves in general, it's a little odd for him to go Goredrinker, but I do know it was a very popular build in pro play.
Guess we'll see. Only one way to find out.
That is
sure.
true. Usually you see him build either Immortal Shield Bow or Eclipse.
We definitely saw the Amherst team invade this time. I wonder if they're going to try to do it again.
I am very curious to see how exciting this beginning of the game goes.
It's always going to be the weakest point in the 4v5 for the 4.
Absolutely.
Level 1 means everything's even.
100%. All right. We're seeing the best Mundo skin, by the way.
Yes, it is far superior.
And, I mean, the Veigar skin's alright.
Veigar skin's alright. Personal preference is Leprechaun.
Really? I hear a lot of the final battle boss is probably usually the pick.
I heard a thing way back when I started esports, and I've kind of stuck with it ever since, of the Cage of Friendship.
Yes, the giant cage of friendship and rainbows.
Indeed.
We are seeing an invade here, like last time.
Let's see if our red team plays around that. Veigar spots it.
Is he going to be able to get out? He does get a stack.
He gets 2 stacks.
He gets stacks, and he has first strike.
Yep, he gets gold too.
That is
They're going to
printing
have
money.
to sacrifice that blue buff. And we can immediately see the Graves going for the counter invade.
Absolutely. He sees that everyone is at his buff, and so therefore there's no one guarding that buff topside.
Yep, means he can counter buff, and that means both jungles are going to start with the same advantage.
You do have to be a little bit worried about that top laner rotating and warding, just in case.
Indeed, it looks like the blue side is actually pulling back out and not taking the blue buff, meaning that Graves is going to get 100% advantage here.
Yes, that is true. Also, they did ward, but they're not going to see him there.
Yeah, that ward's going to break by the time he rotates all the way around.
This will be very interesting to see how this plays out, as the Graves did position himself quite smartly.
Mid lane wave starting to crash, Veigar getting his stacks.
As he should.
As he
We
should.
do see 2 first strikes mid lane here.
Who's going to get the first strike?
And I'm also interested to see how this top lane matchup works out. He does grab
Blue
the
buff
blue
goes
buff.
down, and he's going to greed for Grump, which isn't going to be an issue this time, unlike for that Nocturne.
This is true. The Bard is just chilling bot lane for a little bit.
Bard is just going to farm up some XP and then probably start rotating through lanes.
Probably around level 3.
Level 3. Definitely getting that movement speed and the stun is going to be what he needs before roaming.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and pop this up here and then switch them around real quick.
Make sure that we got that aligned properly.
Absolutely.
Bard did not build a support item.
Well, I don't see the reason why.
I think it's the good choice.
I think that, and especially in a situation like this, the rest of your players should be working on their vision score better anyways.
Indefinitely. If this red team does not control their vision, they are going to be at a disadvantage at all times because there is a fourth person roaming the map.
Absolutely.
Same with the blue team. If blue team's not keeping vision on that Bard, they don't know where he's going to be.
100%. I think it is very important to keep track of that support there. No longer a support, I suppose. I was really hoping to see an Electrocute Bard or maybe a Lethal Temple Bard coming out, but I can only hope.
Yeah, we get to see some classic Bard play with the Guardian. Means he's still going to be playing for his team.
I won't complain. I love seeing Bard regardless.
Indeed. You don't see enough Bard these days.
Absolutely. We're going to see if Vagar's going to be able to get his stacks off here. Looks like Corky is going to take an XP lead, and Mundo is holding a little close there.
I think Mundo's greeting. He should really get out of here soon.
There's the Yi.
Yi invading onto...
Oh, but he has the Corky.
He has the Corky, but he also has the Vagar.
Oh, the flash has to come out. I'm a little concerned to see how this works out. No, the flash ignite. And I'm realizing that the Mundo started with a Ruby Crystal and not a normal starting item.
Interesting. Going straight for the Mythic instead of building a starting item. Advantages and disadvantages.
Absolutely. He does TP back, and the Bard is very low on mana here. And they will just end up attacking this tower here. Oh, and the Tristana takes a tower shot.
Yeah, from the E damage proccing the tower focus. Vagar's getting his stacks for sure.
Yeah, Mundo is down 10 CS as well.
Unfortunate for Mundo, but he's being shoved under tower, which makes sense in the situation. Vagar's already at 26 stacks. That's a good place.
We do see that the Yi did grab that top scuttle, probably right before he invaded on those chickens.
That makes the most sense.
And he's going to run straight into this Graves here in the jungle.
Graves calling for a rotate. Sorry, no, that is Yi.
That's the Yi calling for rotate, and I'm not sure this Graves wants to continue chasing.
Nope, Graves is going to back off. Smart decision from the Graves.
He does get his Gromp here, and he does ward just in case.
Mm-hmm. Good job on that Graves for getting his vision.
Considering that their pathing for the jungle here, for the Graves, is so odd, it is really interesting to see how the Yi is tracking him so well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely shows the Yi's experience with dealing with off-path junglers.
We're definitely going to see some fights coming up soon here because the Chemtech Drake has spawned.
That's the major disadvantage of playing 4v5 right now. It means the bot lane can just walk up and take Dragon for free. There's nothing to stop them.
I think you're probably going to have to put most of your advantages at least on Rift Herald here because plates are tons of the gold here.
Yes, if you can get that golden XP advantage in
You're
that
going to get a stun
game.
on this Tristana and get a couple bits of damage down. Mordekaiser hitting his claws.
Yep, Moore doing a great job of preventing Mundo from picking up his package, making sure that Mundo isn't getting that spell shield any faster than he needs to. Mundo does hit level 6 before the Mord here, which could be a major issue.
That is a little concerning.
Mord missing his claw.
Mord still does have his pots.
For sure. Level 6s. Are we going to see it pop? All right, into the Mordor we go.
They took him to Brazil.
Yep, he's no longer on the regular Rift.
I'm not entirely sure if he's going to win this. Oh, but he pulls him back. The flash has to come out.
Very unfortunate for Mundo.
That Mordekaiser passive really hurts the longer you sit in it, that Metal Storm.
Sure. Just slightly flaying away his health until there is no more.
Absolutely.
Here comes
we have the Graves coming around. I really hope that they can pull this off. It's a little scary.
Ooh, recast the W.
There we go.
Okay. I was afraid for a second that Mundo wasn't going to recast his W.
This Mundo also did get the Ignite out of the Mordekaiser as well.
Yes.
Which means no TP.
Mordekaiser now has an advantage. Well, I guess it's actually evened out here.
It is pretty evened out here.
I think Mordekaiser having that starting item might be a little bit of a disadvantage for the Mundo.
A little bit. It's going to cause the regen to be a little bit faster. A little bit more resistances.
Means Mordekaiser, no matter what trade they have, is going to come out slightly healthier.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Until he gets his item, basically.
Yep. Heartsteel's going to come up faster, though, so...
I was about to say, we're going to see another Heartsteel here.
Yep. Looks like we're going... If I'm correct with the build on the Mordekaiser, either we're going into Demonic Embrace or...
Rylai's
Crystal Scepter.
It could be a Rylai's here.
I think Rylai's would be the better option for the Mordekaiser because it's not blocked by the spell shield, meaning even if you hit your E and it doesn't pull him, he's still going to get slowed.
Absolutely. That slow into the Mundo is important. He no longer has his old ult where he just walks through CC. He did pick up his package.
Mundo hitting his Qs, definitely dealing chunks of damage over time here, but again, that regen from the Mord is still making the difference.
Absolutely. And it's really rare to see a lot of fighting going on top lane rather than the rest of the lanes. But it seems like most of the other lanes is just farming.
Yep, definitely. That's unfortunate for the Corki because Veigar is just going to scale in off of that farm that he's getting.
Absolutely. I am hearing a lot of yelling. I am hearing a lot of yelling coming from Amherst.
Amherst is
I'm expecting some action coming up soon.
Within the next 3 minutes.
They are grabbing these plates here. Like I said, that Tristan is really good at grabbing those towers.
Yeah, they've only got one plate so far. That Bard is doing a great job of making sure they can't take that tower.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, he's not being able to do that roaming like we were talking about.
Which I think was the point of the Tristana pick. It's
Indeed.
to make that pressure there so that he can't impact the rest of the map.
Right.
It is really tough to watch here. I'm wondering why they're not just trying to go for the Bard here.
I'm more interested in how the Graves hasn't even tried ganking bot lane
That
yet.
is true. They are pushed up the entire time. However, I think they want to go for these objectives. They are numbers disadvantage.
Top lane is walking down. I guess we'll see the fight
He
here.
ulted the Veigar here, and
Graves
he flashes,
Graves
but
is
now he
gonna
doesn't have
fight
his flash to
back.
dodge out of that.
Graves making the better decision here, getting those 2 kills
Graves
with that
does
Mundo.
grab the rift here, and they grab.
But he hasn't grabbed the eye yet.
Corgi.
He hasn't grabbed the eye yet. Make sure you grab that, otherwise it just despawns. Graves got it.
That is a waste of gold if you don't pick it up.
Indeed.
And the Scuttle Crab, but he's going to ignore it.
He's going straight for that Gromp, knowing that he can take the Gromp and then walk back out and get the Scuttle
We're
anyway.
a little worried about that Mordekaiser roaming up, but I think he's going to be able to make it out in time. Oh, just close
out
enough.
of vision. Scuttle is going to get out.
And Bard is finally allowing him to recall.
Buying his first items of the game with his 6 CS.
And he's getting Swifties.
Swifties, of course. I would have preferred Mobies considering the situation we're in, but Swifties to dodge that CC is going to be good too.
Absolutely. And it helps with that slow resistance.
Indeed.
So even if that Mordekaiser is rushing that Rylai's, it may not affect that Bard as much.
Mordekaiser hasn't recalled to spend that gold that he got out of that fight, so that disadvantage is going to continue existing for him.
He also does not have teleport, so he really can't afford to just back at a bad time.
Indeed. Definitely because Mundo can just take that recall, also recall, and then teleport back in and shove the wave.
Absolutely. That's the power of teleport. However, it does make you at a damage disadvantage in lane.
Also a healing disadvantage.
Yeah, that is true. Which is great against the Mundo.
Definitely.
They are chipping away at these plates down here.
Those grievous wounds from the Ignite are just going to mean Mundo's ult is only going to heal for 60% instead of the full 100.
Ooh. Yeah, that makes it pretty rough here. When are we going to see our first Corgi package?
I actually don't remember the timing on Corki packages.
The Leona ult misses, but we have a flash ult coming out from the Yi with his Alpha Strike, and I think he's going to catch the Graves here.
Yeah,
we do see
the
the
entire
Graves
enemy
ult,
team
and I
kinda
don't
just
think they're going
going
to be
for that
able to do
Graves
much
there.
here. The Veigar walking in, but I think that's not a great decision. Unless he can be able to grab this Leona, but I don't think he's... Oh, he grabs the Tristana instead! That is
sure
a
he gets
way
the kill.
better kill there.
For sure. Greatly going to reduce their time on taking Dragon, potentially allowing Graves to come back up and try to do something about it.
We do see another Bork Rush coming out from the sea.
Indeed. Graves choosing not to try contest Dragon and going topside instead.
Smart idea. And Master Yi once again pinging that he doesn't have smite.
Once again, not having smite while taking Dragon. That is
Doesn't matter.
a potential bad call, but it doesn't matter. Indeed.
We're seeing that Heartsteel come out for that Mundo as well, and it is a Rylai's rush for that Mordekaiser.
Hex gates are open now. We're playing
Ooh, the
for Hex
flash has to come out here. And they are trying to crack open that bot tower.
Bot tower crack means that that 2-player advantage can start moving across the map, doing more and more.
They are going to pop Rift Herald mid here, trying to put pressure on them so they can't push that bot lane.
There's that first Corgi package.
And it hits.
It hits.
However, oh, he is pulling
It
out some
isn't going to
damage,
do
but
enough.
the Graves ult. Oh, there's a Mordekaiser.
Where'd that guy come
And the
from even?
flash all is
I don't think
crazy.
Vagar gets to live
I don't know
here.
if he doesn't get to live either. And it goes to the Mordekaiser.
I'm glad they went to the Mordekaiser instead of the Tristana for the sake of the red team.
Oh, absolutely. This Tristana can absolutely mow through your team after that.
Yeah.
That's another Morgana route there. Getting some chip.
We do see the Ludens coming out for the Vagar.
Ludens is up. That's going to be a huge advantage. That extra damage on his attacks is going to be convenient, especially during team fights.
Absolutely. We also see the Umbral coming out for the Graves, which helps with vision control.
Absolutely. Something red team has put a great effort into, and I'm very happy to see, is their effort to control vision on this map.
This is probably the closest we're going to get to seeing a sweeper.
Yeah. I guess we'll see one way or another. Again, that Graves is sitting on 2 ward stacks, so.
This is true. We are seeing this fight between Corki and Mundo topside. I think Mundo just wants to push him out of lane.
That would be ideal for the Mundo so that way he can farm, and Mundo gets that passive healing so he doesn't have to worry about backing as much. However, Mundo is at a level disadvantage on the Corki here.
And all of blue side seems to have either backed or just gone back into camps.
Yep. Smart decisions here, getting gold spent, building up a little bit more while you can, while the enemy team isn't really able to put pressure anywhere.
Absolutely. Now this Corki's going to start rotating mid once again as the Mordekaiser returns to his rightful lane. We're going to pop... We're gonna spot out those wards there because of the Umbral Glaive. Wonderful vision
Vagar
item.
getting collapsed on here. Is he
little
going to
concerning.
live?
Oh, and he
That-
walks straight into the stun.
Very
Oh, he's gonna
unfortunate.
try to hop through the minions, but it does not make it.
Does not make it. Graves is here to counter gank. Is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
The damage is really coming out from this red team. I'm pretty impressed here.
Red team keeping their cool despite having that disadvantage.
We do see the Manamune coming out.
Friendly reminder that the red team did have to win a match in order to be here right now, meaning that they were able to win 4v5. Maybe they'll pull it off again.
Yes. Now, as you've told me previously about this, is that they are going to hit a very large power spike with the levels in late game.
Around level 14 to 18 is when you'll see those major level advantages start coming out for the red team. And if blue team doesn't play around those levels, they're going to feel the pain of just how strong levels are in this game.
Absolutely. I am noticing that this Mundo went steel caps.
Steel caps against a Mordekaiser.
I think it's more so because the rest of the team is pretty heavily AD, and they did grab the Tristana with that Graves ult. He did have to flash for it.
Did have to flash for it. That plated steel caps is going to be good against the Yi and Tristana, but you still have to deal with the AP threats of a 4-1 Mordekaiser and a 1-2 in our mid lane on the Corki.
I do believe that is going to be a, what is it called? For Bard, it's the tank item. You know exactly
Evan
what
Shroud?
Nope, it's the
Oh,
golden
the other
one.
Shrelia's?
No, the one that heals when you ult. The tank item.
I know what you're talking about, I don't remember the name.
Oh, and they do grab that Vagar with that Yi ult. No flash this time.
No flash this time.
So that's a great advantage.
Mundo just playing safe under tower, trying to get that working.
Radiant Virtue. That's what it's called.
Thank
I think
you.
the Bard might be going Radiant Virtue.
It might either be Radiant Virtue or... What's the shield item?
The Locket. Locket of Solari.
Yes, that would be
Which
a
is
great one as well.
Very ironic considering that Leona is the Lunar, or the Solari of this game.
And built a Lunari item.
She did build a Lunari item. We do have a Bork finished on our Yi, and we also have steel caps on Mordekaiser and Graves.
I mean, if we want to consider the irony of items, considering the sort of one specific champion is available for purchase for any character in the game, and even
That is
multiple at the
true.
same time.
That is true. There's also that this Bard has picked up an Aegis.
So that means he's going into one of the higher tier tank mythics.
Which, not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea, although I'd be curious to see which one it ends up being.
I'm also curious to see how he utilizes it.
If he utilizes it properly, it's going to be a major force to be reckoned with. An unexpected tank from the Bard is going to be annoying, especially considering that he's an infinite scaler with his auto attacks, meaning that he doesn't necessarily have to build damage to do damage.
The other thing we haven't considered is that since it's a 4v5, objective bounties are more likely to happen to the red side.
As well, yeah. If they can start claiming objectives.
I'm a little worried the Graves is claimed. And the Vagar is claimed as well. We did get a tower topside from that Mundo, though.
They did get 380 gold, I believe, for killing that.
That is a little rough.
It's actually only 250, unfortunately. 250 split for the whole team, that's 50
the
per
Bard
person.
does make it out.
Bard makes it out, that's definitely.
And I believe that the red team does get a lot more gold out of that trade because of the tower. And the Tristana is tanking, and she gets executed.
Oh my. Very unfortunate.
How is she tanking?
I believe the E damage hit the Mundo and then the target tower or tower.
It's like when you
targeted
have
her.
Sunfire and you just forget that you're doing passive damage.
It's very easy to forget when you have something set up to deal damage and it does AoE and you accidentally end up damaging someone.
Absolutely. And we are seeing that this is a finished Mirror Mana on the Corgi here, and I think he is also going Ludens.
Yes, it appears to be a Ludens. Could definitely also be a fake out into Leontrius, but I don't think it'd be as good.
I think Ludens is better here because they do have those two squishy cores, and those are the ones that are going to be doing damage here.
Yes. Getting rid of that Vagar is going to be their main goal at any point in this game.
Absolutely.
Especially if you can hand his soul over to Mordekaiser and then Mordekaiser gets that infinite scaling AP off of his ult passive. That's going to be very dangerous.
100%. Also, we can see that Corki has his package.
Corki has
Maybe
package.
they're searching for a big play here.
They
And
could
we see the
definitely
Bartle,
be.
it lands on the Yi.
They aren't able to get an advantage out of it, sadly.
However, it does give them time to rotate.
A single Q from that Vagar does a decent chunk to that Yi.
Oh, we hear
Here's some noise from Amherst.
excitement coming from Amherst. So we're a little excited for this action coming up. Looks like they're about to bush camp, and they get the Corgi package off with the giant Leona ult. I am just absolutely but they do get the Leona back. However,
Leona is
they are just
down. It looks like we don't even lose any players for the red
Oh
team
my
here.
gosh.
That's a great advantage considering the engage that they were playing against.
Absolutely. I'm a little concerned about this Graves going a little in too far. He is gonna just go ahead
He
and
is
start
under
tanking.
tower, meaning that Mordekaiser.
Oh, and they take the Yi shutdown onto the Vagar.
Poor Yi just gets hit by that wall and then gets the W dropped on him. He can't do a thing.
No, you just can't move. You can't move.
If you can't move, you can't dodge. If you can't
He had
dodge,
no
you die.
flash. He can't flash out. He is gonna start building that Rage Blade like we saw last game.
Yes, no mythic yet.
We
I
are
would,
seeing
I would
Jack
like to see
Show
that
as
Kraken Slayer a
well.
bit sooner, considering that we have Mundo building Heartsteel.
This is true. However, we are also seeing that a Jack Show has been built on Mordekaiser. Tank Mordekaiser is not as common a build as AP Mordekaiser.
I feel like with the rise of Jack Show, it's being seen a lot more often, considering that in this matchup, he can get all the AP he needs off of that Vagar kill as long as his team manages to feed it to him. However, that Vagar getting 2 shutdowns just now is going to be a major issue for the team in blue.
Absolutely. I suppose also when it comes down to the Jack Show, when you're going against a Mundo, all you need to do is really sit on top of him and get your passive off. You just want to survive long enough.
If you survive long enough, you deal the damage you need.
Absolutely. He's trying
Although
to
it
go
looks
get
like
his passive off. There we
The
go.
level advantage is starting to kick in here for the Mundo,
It is a
however.
little concerning, and he's just stacking that health. He's built a Thornmail, so that healing from that Conqueror and that Jack Show is going to start being counteracted.
Mordekaiser also building plated steel caps here. I feel like this is actually a misplay on the behalf of the Mordekaiser. He's playing against 3 AP champs and an AD champ.
I do believe that he probably should have gotten Merc Treads.
Mertred's definitely, considering he needs to not take too much damage from that Veigar. Otherwise, the entire purpose of his ult to get the Veigar out of fights won't be working anymore because the Veigar's just going to kill him.
As well as that Mertreads help you get out of CC faster. They do give you that tenacity.
The only real CC that the team in red here has is Bard Q and Mundo. No, Mundo doesn't have CC.
No, Mundo doesn't have CC and Veigar Cage.
Veigar
The
Cage.
Veigar Cage is super potent.
Yes, 3 seconds of stun.
I'm a little interested to see the two teams are kind of converging here.
Red team
they're
playing
gonna
the bush.
bait
They
the
know
gate.
they don't have vision.
I was like, they're baiting the graves
Here we go.
and the Bartle comes out. But I don't know how I feel
I don't
about
like
this
that
yet.
Bartle.
Oh, but the nearsighted on the Yi, he can't hit. But they're getting wiped. Oh my gosh. But they went, okay, they grabbed a couple of kills here. And I
Graves
think they're
gets
just going to
ulted out
get wiped
again.
here.
I really think that Bartle was a misplay on behalf of the Bard. He ulted out the 2 people they had stuck in the cage and they couldn't deal the damage that they needed to.
You definitely wanted to ult someone outside of the cage, like the Yi or who else was outside of the cage?
Tristana. Mordekaiser.
Yeah, you want to go for those damage dealers instead. However, now you're going to give up soul, and it's going to make this game so much harder.
Definitely. That slow and chain damage off of the Hextech Soul is going to be an issue.
Especially when it comes down to the Corki and the Tristana being able to proc it so easily.
Corki teleporting top to try to push with the advantage they just got from Soul.
And we do see a Locket coming out on Bard.
Hey, I did call it.
We have a finished Thornmail on our Mundo now.
Definitely going to reduce the damage that we were seeing from that Yi and Mordekaiser.
And I think this Graves is sick of being ulted by Mord because he went Black Cleaver.
Black Cleaver's definitely going to be his advantage, but if he knew he was getting targeted by the ult, I would have rather seen a Quicksilver sash of some kind, or even building into a full item. If we got Quicksilver, he could just cancel the Mord ult at any time
Yep,
he
and a
wants.
Mercurial or the Mace is not the worst item in the world. It is not your favorite, but it is very important.
It's key when you're playing against a champ like Mordekaiser that you know is just going to be ulting you over and
Absolutely.
over. I would like to see the Mordekaiser ulting Veigar more often here, but he's definitely choosing to take that Graves more often.
Absolutely. I do feel like the Veigar is a little hard to get on top of here. Oh, he almost grabs the Corki.
Mundo coming in here from the top. We
I'm
might
not
be able
entirely
to catch
sure.
Yi out.
Oh! I don't know if he's going to be... Oh, they do
Yi
kill
is
the
caught
Yi.
out. Veigar gets caught out in exchange, which is
And it
very bad.
Just murder. They are stuck in their own area, their own cage, and I don't know if they're going to make it out of this one.
Mundo lives. Maybe he'll be able to defend the base for long enough to keep the other team alive.
We do have 300 stacks on that Mundo, but I'm a little worried considering that they do have a lot of tank shred.
They do indeed have a lot of tank shred, especially from that Tristana with her Kraken Slayer. She's just going to melt that Mundo no matter what he wants to do.
100%. She's also going to tear through these buildings.
She isn't using her Q on the buildings, interesting enough. They're
They
choosing
are
to back here instead of
backing.
pushing for the end of the game. Makes sense seeing that the enemy team is now coming back up.
They are going to take some Hex Tech gates as well. A fun little...
Looks like they're drawing back and going for Baron here.
Baron. This is a Baron call. I don't know if Red can stop it.
Red can't stop it. They have to deal with super minions in the base.
Now, normally around Baron or around Super Minions, you don't want that before 25 minutes. But they're so far ahead, I don't think it matters.
No, it does not. And it is after the 25-minute mark by technicality.
This is true. Just barely. They are going to sniff it out. I don't think they're going to be able to do much.
If they catch this Leona here, that's one
Oh,
less.
the Mundo is taking the Hex Tech gate. He's
Mundo
taking
is
the
going
train.
right in there.
And,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately, I think this is the end of the line.
Tristana gets stunned, but the Veigar can't capitalize.
That is
Going
so
straight for
tragic.
that Veigar, leaving him the last alive, and down he goes.
A lot of back and forth.
Yi ulting down mid here, trying to push for that end. Starting on that tower.
I'm extremely impressed on how long that Louisville was able to hold out.
Especially considering that their major chance for dealing with the situation they were stuck with of a 4v5 got banned.
Absolutely.
A lot of respect for the Louisville team for even trying, considering a disadvantage of a player is major enough that I have seen a lot of teams just deciding not to play their matches.
Yes, so I mean, kudos to them. That's a lot of respect there.
Yes, I am proud of them for deciding to continue on. Unfortunately, as you can see in the post-game screen here, they were definitely at a disadvantage for damage.
Absolutely. Well,
Oh, unfortunately.
here we go.
Hopefully we'll be able to see it here in a second.
If it'll load correctly. There we go.
As you can see,
Alright.
about 15k damage on average for our blue team. Well, we had a few 25k and a 16k.
Yep. So, again, kudos to the team, and
Kudos to the team.
thanks for joining us.
Yep, and we'll be heading into announcements and interviews here shortly.